Hi there, my name is Jane and this is Loopy Mabel Vintage Style. If you're new here, you're very welcome, and all my lovely subscribers, thank you so much for your support. In today's video, it's an update really on what I've been sewing this week. As I mentioned in my last video, I was going to do the Sarah shirt, and here it is. So if you'd like to join me on my pattern review on how I found it, please join me. Welcome back, and if you haven't already subscribed and you would love to join me for regular crochet and sewing videos, then please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also that notification bell, and then you'll never miss out whenever I bring out my videos. So I've been busy bee this week, not as busy I'd like to have been though, because in England we've just had a really hot spell of a heat wave, and it was being absolutely unbearable, so I couldn't do as much as I wanted to do because it was just too hot. At one point when I was cutting out the pattern for this blouse, I was literally, it sounds gross, but I was literally dripping with sweat, and I just couldn't. I was sticking to the pattern and it was just not good. So yeah, I would have had this finished probably the back end of last week, but anyway, never mind, here we are. So this is the Sarah shirt. I mentioned this in my last me made video log, and I'm really pleased with it. So I'm just going to run through what I thought of the pattern, how I made it, anything that I would change or anything that I didn't like or I did like. And then if you are thinking of doing the Sarah shirt, then hopefully this video may help you and inspire you as well to have a go at making it. I got the pattern, I'll show you the pattern. The Sarah shirt pattern. You see it there, as part of the Pattern Swap 2019, which was a hashtag that I was following on Instagram back in June, I think it was, where what you did is if you had lots of sewing patterns and you didn't want any more, you would put them in the pattern swap and swap them with other like-minded people who wanted to swap their patterns too, completely free, and you swapped your patterns. And then after the pattern swap part was finished, you had an option to make something from the patterns that you received back and obviously post it under the pattern swap hashtag. I did the Betty blouse. I'll put the link for the Betty blouse up here somewhere. So thoroughly enjoyed it. I swapped 4 patterns and I got 4 patterns back. The Betty blouse was one of them and the Sarah shirt was another. So I picked my fabrics. I went for this gorgeous ditzy print. I think it's a Moda fabric. I think it's Windermere, and I've had this quite a while and absolutely love the little pretty ditzy flowers and the little green leaves, and I thought it would be perfect to do this Sarah shirt. So I cut it out, no problem. I went from the measurements that it said on the size at the back, and it took me to, I fell in between a 16 and an 18, which is a 12 and a 14 in the US. And so I thought, rather than going on the skimp side, I went on the size up, so I went for a size 18. And I'm glad I did, because as I said before, I think I must have quite chunky arms, and if I'd have done the size 16, the sleeves, I wouldn't have probably got my arm, or they would have been really tight. I'm glad I did that, but I probably could have got away with the 16 in the body part of the blouse. I just went with once. I wasn't sure whether I could squeeze the sleeve in. Probably now in hindsight, yeah, I could have put the 18 sleeve in on the 16 blouse. So if I make it again, which I most definitely will make it again, that's what I'm going to try and do. So did I enjoy making it? To start off with, it was great. Followed the instructions, absolutely fine, and I was whizzing along great. And then the only thing I found with the pattern, obviously you got the instructions and you got like a picture, instructions. But the only thing I found was, because the picture, they've used quite a dark patterned fabric in the instructions, I found it really hard to focus my eyes on what they were actually showing because it was really dark. So after I'd got the yoke put on and tried to follow the instructions, I had to read each step 3, 4, 5 times because I just couldn't fathom out what the pictures were trying to show me. So then I started to get a little bit frustrated, but I plodded on. I wasn't going to give up, and the only fiddly thing I found with it was the collar. I just felt like I was all fingers and thumbs, and then I couldn't work out where the collar ended. It did say in the instructions, but I just couldn't fathom it out. Anyway, I did fathom it out eventually, but it does lie flat, but there's a little bit of bulk there inside, so it's probably going to stand up a little bit. As you can see, it is like standing up. I will put it on later on and I'll show you me wearing it, but I just wanted to show you it here on Mabel. And the instructions didn't say to trim when you attach the under part of the collar to the blouse. It told you to snip, obviously, around the curve to ease the collar in, but then it didn't tell you to trim the seam. So I just think it's left a little bit of bulk, which makes the collar raise up a little bit. So if when I do it next time, I would trim that bit off, or at least grade it, so it would help the collar sit a little bit flatter. But I mean, it's not a massive issue. So I'll just show you the collar. So it doesn't quite sit flat, but maybe I'm just being really picky. And I went for the collar that had like the point. There's two collars to choose from, like a Peter Pan curved collar, or like more like a shirt detail collar. So I went for that one. And there's like 2 collars to choose from, and you can have long sleeve and short sleeve. So I'll just show you. And obviously I chose the short sleeve and the shirt collar, so that was fine. Now the sleeves, in the pattern, I wasn't keen. In the pattern, you're supposed to understitch that seam allowance to the sleeve, and then you're supposed to fold it over, so you've got like a little bit of a folded sleeve. I'll show you. But obviously I wasn't keen because you've got the raw edges. I mean, I've got neatened the edges, zigzagged the edges, but to me, I wasn't keen, so I'm just going to leave them down. It suits me fine. So, but yeah, so that was the sleeve. So I didn't like the little turn-up cuff, so I've just left mine down. And then obviously you've got the gathered section at the top, and then you've got this lovely little pleat detailing on the back, and it's like a bit of an A-line. Well, it's quite a lot of fabric in the body of the shirt, so I quite like that. It's got like a 1950s vibe to it. I think it's quite sweet. And then I've put 10 buttons down the front, which is a bit of a button festival going on, and I quite like the buttons I picked. I went for red, so quite pretty. and I had to remind myself how to do the buttonholes again on my machine. It just wasn't having it. I put the buttonhole foot on and set the buttonhole stitch on my machine, but it just wasn't having it. So I had to go onto YouTube to see if I can find what I was doing wrong, and I hadn't put that little pull down that little grey lever that you're supposed to pull down and put at the end of your buttonhole foot. So and as soon as I saw that, I thought, yeah, that's what I forgot. It all came back to me because I haven't put buttonholes in anything I've made for a long time, so I was a little bit rusty putting the buttonholes in. But once I got the first one going, I marked them all out, dead simple. I just put 2 inches in between. So I quite enjoyed making the buttons, and then obviously I've just sat and stitched all the 10 buttons on by hand. You could do it on the machine, but I do like a little bit of hand stitching, so I stitched them all on by hand. So this is the Sarah shirt. So if you've got the pattern, definitely have a go. I would only say the fiddliest part is putting the collar on. I seem to be all fingers and thumbs, and I seem to have taken absolutely ages putting the collar on. Once that was on, it was absolutely fine. I hand stitched with a blind stitch underneath the underneath part of the collar, so that was nice and neat. So that was a nice bit of hand stitching. So there is a little bit of hand stitching involved in this. So there's the under part of the collar, and obviously if you're going to put your buttons on by hand, so there's at least two stages to the blouse where hand stitching is involved. So if you're not very good at hand stitching, it's something to consider, but don't let it put you off. Just have a little practice, take your time. It's all I did. And yeah, it's definitely one of my favourite finished pieces. The only thing I'm a bit concerned about is the collar not lying flat, but I'll try it on and I'll show you and see what you think with me actually wearing it. But yeah, that is the Sarah shirt, and I will give it marks out of 10, 7 out of 10, only because I couldn't fathom out the pictures in the instructions. They were far too dark, and I couldn't work out where what the instructions related to in the picture, because it was just really dark. If I hadn't have faffed about with the collar as long, I probably would have had this made from start to finish maybe 3 hours. So it's quite a nice little afternoon, or a project to do in a day. So yeah, quite pleased. So I'm going to try it on, and I shall show you me wearing it, and it fits really well. I'm quite impressed with the length of the blouse. I like the way it flares out in a little bit of a sort of flared out A-line type of look, and it's perfect to go over my jeans like I'm wearing, and really pretty. So that is the Sarah blouse. So that was me modelling my Sarah shirt in the garden, and absolutely thrilled with it, really. The only thing I think is the sleeves, because they do fit a little bit snug. There's no room, well, there's a little bit of room, but they are a little bit snug. So I'm glad I went for the size 18 in the blouse, but I could have quite easily got away with the size 16. So next time I make it, I'll probably, I don't know, actually I might just make it again in this size, because I quite like the fact that it's quite flary and like 50s vibe to it. But yeah, the sleeves are a bit tight, but I've got chunky arms basically. I'm trying my best to lose a bit more weight, but my arms just seem to be the last to lose a little bit of weight on, and they are quite chunky, but they're attached to my body. What can I do? I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Mind you, saying that, I probably would never have worn a short sleeve blouse. I would probably gone for a long sleeve blouse, because I absolutely don't like my arms at all, but I can't spend the rest of my life hiding my arms. They're attached to me, they're part of me, so I just accept that now. So, but anyway, back to the blouse. Love it, really love it. Now I've got it on with my jeans and my clogs. This is definitely me, and I'll just quickly Give you another show of my buttons. So chuffed with all my buttons. 10 buttons, not one hitch. Every one is lined up spot on, which is absolutely amazing for the first attempt. So I was really pleased with them. Could you get away with less buttons? Probably not. There's no hardship on the machine anyway, and I quite enjoy hand stitching buttons on, so that's not a problem. And now I've got the blouse on, the collar isn't as much of an issue as I thought it was going to be. It lies fairly flat, so absolutely love it. Thrilled to bits with it. I'm glad I stuck through those instructions, because they were starting to annoy me a little bit, because I just couldn't fathom out what the instructions were saying compared to the picture. But anyway, I'm glad I stuck it out and love it. So I'm going to definitely going to be making some more. So I hope you like this video. I hope you like my blouse. If you've got the pattern or you were thinking of getting the pattern, definitely have a go. It's really a lovely pattern to do, and I will be making some more. So this is the Sarah blouse. If you did like this video, please don't forget to give me that lovely thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed and you'd like to see more of my content that I bring out, please hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell, and then you'll never miss out on anything that I do bring out. If you've made this blouse, please let me know in the box below. If you've made it, what fabric did you use? What did you think of the instructions? Or was it just me that was being a little bit dozy? I don't know, let me know. And also, I wanted to ask you before I go, how you feel about me including my sewing handmade wardrobe vlogs in with my crochet and my crochet tutorials. I was thinking maybe perhaps they don't really go together. Maybe I should have a separate channel just for my handmade wardrobe and keep the crochet in originally as it was. But I'm not quite sure, so if you can let me know too what you think. Do you mind me having them both together under the one roof, under the one channel, or would you prefer me to have two separate channels, my crochet Loopy Mabel and maybe my Loopy Mabel handmade wardrobe? Because I'm not quite sure, so but I'd love to know, so please let me know in the box below, because I'm like on a bit of a quandary at the minute. So I'd really appreciate if you let me know, or if you're not bothered either way and you like it all under the one channel, let me know too. But until the next time, I'm off to go and do my wilder gown. So that's the next one with my reindeer fabric. So that's what I'm off to do next. And I'm also working on, talking of crochet, I'm also working on a new autumn wrap with lots of texture in it. So hopefully my next crochet video will be on that autumn wrap. But until the next time, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you very soon. Please take care and happy dressmaking.